This is the Young and Growing Podcast with Isaiah Gunther.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Young and Growing. I'm your host, Isaiah Gunther, and today we have got a guest all the way from Nashville, Tennessee, 1 hour behind us, Mr. Dylan Murphy. What's going on, Big Murph?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Oh my gosh, it's going good. It's going good. I'm super grateful to have you on this morning. The only thing I could
appreciate the offer, man.
Oh, dude, no problem, man. No problem. I've been thinking about this for a few days, and the only thing that I could think about when I thought your name, because growing up we played football together, we played basketball all the way through school against each other, and you were always one of the best players on your team, and you always gave 150%. So the only thing I can think of when I think of you is your work ethic, your grind, and still to this day, it's proven to not only exceed but continue to grow. So, man, I just wanted to start off by asking you, what was your biggest influence on hard work growing up?
My biggest influence, honestly, had to have been my parents for sure. My mom, she always pushed me just to she wanted me to make something of myself, just be better. We always butted heads. I was never the best in school and with the grades and things like that. And that's something we always butted heads about, just because back where we're from, the only way to make it out of where we're from is grades. You got to have a good background with school. A lot of times you got to get a degree. Anybody we ever seen around us with money, they come from that kind of background. So that's always what was pushed toward me, is just strive for excellence. Mom, like I said, she always pushed me. My dad, watching him, he's always been an entrepreneur as far as I can remember. So just watching him grow, seeing the struggles that it took to get to where he's at today. It's just a lot of observing and just watching, like trial and error. That seeing things around me has influenced me a lot and showed me what it takes, just to get to a position that you're aiming for. It takes a lot of hard work, and just you've got to pick and choose from different areas of people's life what you can take from it to add to your life.
Oh my gosh,
that makes sense.
Dude, it makes perfect sense. I love that. And I think, I guess that kind of leads me down this kind of rabbit hole real fast. But whenever you saw your dad grinding, because I know that's one thing that I missed, in the growing up, is I never had anybody to look up to that was a true entrepreneur, that was out there failing and going through trials and tribulations. I think that would have helped change my mind whenever I faced failure. How did you handle failure early on, even in high school, or even, I know you played college ball, which is one of my biggest dreams, or which was one of my biggest dreams, playing college football. How did you handle failure after, going through and seeing your dad go through it?
I feel like the biggest thing is just going through it. It's just expected. I was never a natural at anything, and I think my hard work played a lot into helping get to where I'm at, and watching my dad, the same thing. Like both of us, we were never naturally gifted in anything, and I've seen my dad do everything. Jack of all trades, master of none. That's how I feel wholeheartedly about myself as well.
Yeah.
There's nothing I'm naturally gifted about. But with my dad, I've seen him literally be an Elvis impersonator. I've seen him own businesses of car audio, just different systems and things like that. He owns a production company right now. He's actually helped with the Hatfield and McCoys. He was in with We Are Marshall.
Yeah.
He's done things with Dog the Bounty Hunter, but we've never it's always knowing the right, not really knowing the right people, just being in the right place at the right time. And I always know that karma plays a big thing. As long as you're doing the right thing, God is going to reward you with where you want to be. If you just keep pushing, you're gonna get 10 no's to every one yes. So you just have to keep pushing and keep finding the angle, because you're gonna run into walls in the road, bumps in the road. So you just have to keep, you know what I mean? And that's the biggest thing I've watched with him is he's just tried everything, and one door closing just leads to another one opening. So
what's one of the most memorable moments that's always sticking with you about your dad, that, you know, even like when you're down and you're like, well, because I try to look back. Let me kind of rephrase. I try to look back at certain experiences and think, okay, I was here at one point, or somebody was here and they overcame it. What was one thing that your dad overcame, or that he, you know, succeeded on, that is always sticking with you throughout, you know, every week?
The main thing is just the past couple of years. He had I don't want to get too into detail, but
right.
He had a business hiccup. He helped build a company up to the brim. I mean, they were doing great. One of the biggest production companies in West Virginia, and just getting into business with different people. You know what I mean? It don't always work out how you want it to.
Right.
And after working his butt off to get help get that company to where it's at, he had to start from scratch. He got out of where he was at, and now owns Murphy Media.
Okay.
And after doing everything for that company, helping build it to where it's at, he just had to drop it of a dime, and he started Murphy Media, and now it's booming. I mean, just in the past couple of years. But if he would have never made that sacrifice, he would have he was happy, but I don't feel like he was truly where he wanted to be. I don't feel like if he would have let that door close, he would have never had this one open.
Yeah. And so what big lesson, I think, did you learn from that? I mean, I guess kind of sum up what that lesson was.
I mean, you're just going to go through adversity. You never know. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You may think you're in the moment, you may feel like you're where you need to be, but as long as you just trust in the process, God will always lead you in the right direction, and you'll know, when that time comes, you know, you'll know if that's where you need to be.
Wow, that's a perfect segue into this.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, perfect segue, Dylan. That's perfect. So let's kind of go back a little bit and go back into when you were playing college ball, because I know all of us, when we're young and we're we're athletic, we want to play college sport, and the only thing we think about is just getting to the next level. And that was a confusing time in my life. Yeah, there was, and I can't wait to hear about it, because what I want to know is what, sorry, I'm kind of stuttering. What kind of clicked and made that switch? Like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be here right now. Maybe I should be over here doing this. Like, what was that mindset?
Yeah, man. While I was at Urbana, I didn't feel like I was at the right place. I felt like I was just kind of going through the motions. Definitely in high school, I felt like playing ball was fun. It was more, I wouldn't say a hobby. It was definitely a sport, but it was just something we come together as friends. We had that synergy. But when you get to college ball, it's more of a job. Right. You know, everybody's there. They're there to take your position. So that was something I had to take in a conclusion that I wasn't. I was decent at where I was from, but getting up there, man, I didn't see that bright of a future in football.
Okay.
I felt like baseball was, I don't know, not a lot of people know, but I actually, after my first year of football, I just wasn't in it. I wasn't in it at all. And I joined the baseball team. I walked on the baseball team, man, trying to earn a scholarship.
Right.
So I played in, so I joined halfway through the season. There was 10 games left, and I actually joined as a pitcher. I pitched in high school here and there. I threw kind of hard, but I didn't have the best accuracy. Mm-hmm. So I joined as a pitcher. They let me on the squad, and actually out of the 10 of the games, I pitched in 3 of them. So I actually had 3 different games that I played in college ball. So I come up to Urbana as a college football player, and end up playing in more games in baseball than I did in football, what I signed my daggone contract as.
That's crazy.
It was just funny how it played out, man. And I honestly, the 3 games I played in, I got teed on. I know we played against Fairmont State. They had some ex-Marshall players, dude, and my first inning, they probably scored 3 or 4 runs on me. I love the sports, but I knew there was something else that I could put my effort into that was going to give me a better future. So
Ooh.
I feel like I put the same mindset into business as I did as an athlete. I was having more fun as an athlete than I was trying to grow.
Oh,
if that makes sense.
I love it. I love it, dude. I've been there. I love it. So,
dude, and it's just now in the position I'm at, I feel like this is more of a competitive and sports atmosphere than I've ever been involved in. I just felt like before I was just involved in a team. You know what I mean? I was a good athlete, but I wasn't good enough to excel in the next level. I didn't take the playbook into consideration. I basically relied on my skill, and getting to the college level, there was the people that had the skill already gifted, and they relied on the playbook a lot more. So that's why I feel like I didn't give myself a chance.
Yeah. So what helped you decide or help kind of shape the decision to be in the place that you're in today?
Well, I mean, I dropped out of school, so I left, and honestly, it was just as much the academics as it was the athletics at college. So I was a lot of money in debt for my first year. I mean, I never went without, but I don't come from, I didn't have a college fund just waiting on me. So After my first year, I was about $10,000 in debt. I left school. I come back home that summer wanting to, I was planning on going to marathon, so I was about to go into applied science at Ashland Community Technical College. Okay. And I think it's what it's called, ACTC. Mm-hmm. And I ended up not doing that. I was working at Alcon I was making cataract lenses, working midnight, $317 a week. Wow. And Cole Hatfield, man, he was posting all over. I went to school. Well, he actually graduated a year before my sister, I think 2011. And he was a stud athlete.
Yep, I remember.
So, and I've always seen him posting stuff on Facebook, just Instagram, just motivational things. I'm just thinking, like, that's something I could do. That's something I could see myself being around. Mm-hmm. And I got a hold of him, and sure enough, 2 days later, I was in there for an interview, and it wasn't 10 minutes after it, I called and quit my job.
Wow.
I swear, right after I called and quit my job, I just knew walking in there that it was something, just the energy. I felt like I was in a locker room. And that was the first time I'd felt that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to go into this doesn't have to be recruiting, right? This is more, again, young and growing. We're not, I didn't ask you to do this for recruiting, nor did you ask me, could I do this for recruiting? But let's talk about this for a second. For somebody like you, who is athletic, who had dreams to go do something like that, but fell short, what was it about the environment walking in, just like you said, that locker room? What was about it?
You ever been on a team winning a state championship?
Nope, but I wish I would have.
Dude, that's exactly what it felt like walking into the office, man, for my first time. I just got that vibe of everybody wanting the same thing. It's a place, man. You're not working. You're working for yourself, but not by yourself, if that makes sense. You've got a environment around you that's all aiming after the same thing, pushing each other to get the same thing. Everybody may not want the same exact result, but we're all moving in the same direction.
Absolutely.
We're consistently growing. If you're not growing, you're dying.
And a part of your job, and again, I haven't done exactly your job, but one part of your job is extremely hard. And I want to dive into it just a little bit, because I think this is where a lot of lessons that you have are going to come out. What you've shown me, in the past few years in your job, that's really hard to stick to because of failure. And what other jobs don't show is immediate over and over and over failure and overcoming obstacles. And I think that's what's hard about your job, but amazing about what you do. And so being somebody who's stuck through it, you know that out of in your job, you know that out of 100 people, you know those few, maybe 5 to 10 people that are going to make it up to where you are, maybe 15, right, to where you are. What advice do you have for people that are in a hardworking environment that's constantly facing failure to continue to persevere and get through it?
I feel like, honestly, a lot of the people that have success in our company come from a lot of the same areas. And I know working at other jobs, dead-end jobs, that it can be tough when you're putting in effort after effort and not getting the results that you're wanting. You feel like it's something's missing there that you're looking for, and it's something that you're hanging up at the door when you get home. This is something I feel like is a lifestyle. So whenever I get home, I don't feel like I'm working all day long. I don't feel like I'm working all the time. I feel like it's something that I'm building. And with, trial and error, when we face adversity, we always know a blessing's going to come at the end of that tunnel. So, and with this business, anytime you get 10 no's, you know that one yes is going to be, that's what you're looking for. That's what you need.
That's right.
So we use adversity as fuel to the fire, man. It only helps us. You're going to have adversity. It's just how you handle it.
I love that, man. I love that. There's a book. Oh my gosh, I just had it downloaded. I'm actually going to pull it up right now. But there's a book that I read probably 2 years ago. It's still on here. I think it's how to say no or something like that, where in reality they start teaching people to count the no's, right? Because it's the amount of no's. You got to figure out how many no's you're going to get before you get a yes and play that game. It's just a numbers game.
Yep.
And I think anywhere, again, this doesn't just apply to where you are. This is everywhere, just in a small spectrum or even a bigger spectrum. But I think what's really great about where you are, and I think I'm kind of picking this up off of what you were talking about, is, the fact that you get to own something that's yours, that you get to feel like you're building something that's yours, so that you don't feel like you're, when you're working for somebody, you go home and you're like, well, I got to go back to work tomorrow and just make my hours. But when it's yours, there's a different kind of mindset when you get home that you're like, okay, I know that I'm growing my business. So if I don't put that, extra hour in of just educating myself, my whole business, my team, everybody that's looking up to me is going to fail. And I think or is going to struggle. And I think at that point, in leadership where you are, you can kind of, confirm or go off of that. But is that something that is really, driving to continue keeping you in this type of business?
Yeah, I mean, you've just got to keep pushing. When it's yours, it's like, just raising a baby, it's starting from scratch, teaching it how to walk, teaching it how to speak, do whatever, et cetera. It's yours. So anything that you put into it, you've got to make sure that you're not risking it. It's not something that you can just sacrifice, like have a terrible day and just sacrifice it all. You've really got to be on your toes, and I think it helps you hold yourself accountable more. Mm-hmm. It doesn't let you. There's things that I wouldn't do now that I probably would have done as a teenager,
right?
Just for the simple fact that I've got a lot more to lose now. When you have something that you're building that's yours, it really, you have something there that you're pushing for. You have a passion. You have a why. Mm-hmm. And it just gives you all the more reason. Even when you get home, you're excited about it. Like I wake up, I'm excited about work. It's not really work, but that's what we say. I'm excited about it. I wake up each and every day excited about the opportunity that's in front of me. It's never the same thing every single day. I have the opportunity to make it however I want it.
I love that. And it's freedom at a young age. Dylan, how old are you?
I'm 23 years old, 24 in September.
And I'm going to ask you, and you can specify, right, if you want, Under or over six-figure income?
Hasn't been under.
You see what I'm saying, guys? For the people that are listening to this right now, Dylan.
Started at 19.
Dylan, you started at 19. You're now 23, 24.
23.
You're 23 years old, same age as me. Not been under a six-figure income. It's real. And not only is it real, but you got to work hard and you got to apply yourself. And so, Dylan, the people that have listened or that are going to be listening at this point in 21, 20, almost 22 minutes in, what's one thing that they need to take from this that's going to help them not only maybe make the decision like you did to kind of come out and find something, that you love, but what advice do you have for somebody young and trying to continuously grow to not only reach those same financial goals, but have that peace of mind with work?
Honestly, I feel like, coming out of college, dropping out or leaving school, I wasn't my next decision wasn't, I think I'm going to be a life insurance guy. I saw when I come in the interview, I saw the opportunity. So when people start in this company, they don't look at it as I'm just selling life insurance. We do sell life insurance, but it's more of serving. We're helping people. But the biggest thing is just, we use this as a vehicle. You can make what you want to in a year. You can make that in a month if you wanted to. And I'm not saying everybody does that, but you just have the opportunity in front of you that you could do that. So there's just anything. You need $5,000 in a week for a medical bill, God forbid. If you're at a job that gives you a floor, but not necessarily an open. It has anywhere that has a floor, they're always going to have a ceiling. Mm-hmm. And say you need that extra money, you're not going to have that opportunity to do that without, selling some assets or, depending on the company, obviously, you might be able to work a crap load extra of hours, but with here, I just see we use it as a vehicle. We have an opportunity to do whatever we want. You raise as much money as you want. You have the time and the freedom that you can use that to do whatever else. It just gives you the opportunity to go wherever you want.
I love that. I love that.
I love it. This place is a blessing, man. Like I'm obsessed with it. I don't think I can get enough of it.
And how is your lifestyle home with your relatives, your significant other, your friends? How has that changed now that you have freedom and you have a good team and a foundation around you to help you continue to grow and stay on your P's and Q's? How's that helped, your relationships?
With the relationships, it's been, honestly, at first, it's something you've got to have support. You can't have, spouses. That's something I've been blessed with. Brooke, she's had my back rather than been on my back. And that's something that you'll see a lot of people get steered out of business from, is just, you can't bring your home life to work. You can't bring any kind of emotions to work. And that's something I've been blessed with. And at the beginning, it wasn't necessarily that sunshine and rainbows. It wasn't, I was working a lot. It took me, I put, just my first year, I put 60,000 miles on my car just to get to where I'm at,
right.
and it took my family understanding the long hours but I wasn't breaking my back doing it, man. I never counted the hours. It's just an estimation. That's why I said miles rather than hours.
Right.
Because I don't look at the hours. I never once look at it like I'm working. It's just an opportunity. It's an opportunity for me to do better rather than an obligation.
And you said,
look at it as an obligation.
And you
like
said,
I have to do it.
Right.
I don't have to do it.
Right. And you said during the or at the beginning of the podcast, you started talking about, how you had the opportunity to do whatever you wanted, and you decided to go in and then started sticking through it and going through the grind. But we never really get to dive in. And I think that's important whenever you said, during those long hours, during those hard times and hardships, I think a lot of people are in the middle of that or spending most of their time there before they get to here where you are. And I think that's an important part. What lessons did you learn on those days that you didn't get, the outcome that you wanted, or even, I mean, in this job, the weeks,
there's a lot
man.
more of those days than the good ones.
Yeah.
And that was something that I had to learn. I mean, dude, even in training, man, I don't feel like it took me my second day in the field just to, like, I walked into a guy looking for life insurance. Like, it was a layup is what we call it. Somebody looking for it. I didn't have to really work for it.
Right.
But before that, up until that point, I hadn't really seen any success in the work that I was putting in. So it took me getting that first home run, and luckily it was my second day in the field for me to see that there is opportunity there, because I did it myself. I really didn't have any help. But you can never jump on a football field the first time thinking you're going to score.
Right.
You might catch a Hail Mary here and there, but
yeah,
you can't expect it. And luckily mine happened as soon as it did, and it gave me the fire. Like, you just got to find your success and your battles, man. Like, I was down and out up until that point, and it gave me the boost that I needed to catch some momentum, and luckily I kept rolling with the momentum. It doesn't happen for everybody, but I mean, I found my battles further in my career. I mean, I found harder ones further in my career than I did at the beginning, but if I wouldn't have went through what I did at the beginning, I would never have been able to deal with what I've been through now.
Right. And that's like, what,
I wouldn't take it back.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, let's close this off with a final thought, something for everybody to rest on, okay? How important do you think it is to surround yourself with a team or with a mentor or with a solid group of people that are continuously growing? What's your view and your standpoint for people that don't have that yet? How can you?
It's everything, man. It's everything. It has changed my life. They always say the 4 people you surround yourself with, you will be the 5th. And up until, when I started, I'm telling you, man, you couldn't get me out of bed to get to school to save my life. You couldn't, I was staying up late, sleeping in, and I wouldn't say everybody I was surrounding myself was terrible was terrible before I started, but we all kind of were shooting for the same thing, and surrounding myself with a better atmosphere. I mean, it's like I can get my mind, body, spirit in the morning before I even go to work. I mean, I was never even thinking about that stuff before this. And luckily, that don't happen for everybody. Not everybody starts seeing that stuff at 19 years old. It might take you till, my dad, he's in the best shape of his life at 43, 44 years old. And it just took him surrounding himself with some good people to help motivate him. And we're in the best shape of our life together right now. And it just, everything happens for a reason.
Oh my God.
And it's been a blessing, man. The people I've surrounded myself with, Simon, Arias. I have calls with them once a month, multi-millionaire, man. It's like I'm having meetings with Michael Jordan. That's what I look at it like, the Michael Jordan of the insurance industry.
That's right, man. That's
anytime
right.
Anytime that I get with them, man, I value that. It's hard to fathom that someone in my position and where I come from has the opportunity to get an hour a week or a month, out of his time to pick his brain on whatever's going on in my life.
Wow.
Where else do you get that?
Where else? And honestly, man, that's the advice that I've been trying to give, and I've tried to have everybody understand is, even just one time, 1 hour a month, that's 12 hours in a year
crazy.
that you're picking a millionaire's brain.
Yeah. Just last year at Vegas, our company convention, I had a one-on-one dinner with him at, I can't remember, some fancy place in Vegas, but his assistant showed up to our hotel room first thing in the morning with a $500 spa card for Brooke. It was, we were having a good year as a team, and it was just a reward, a blessing from him, just showing his appreciation for, what our end has brought to the table, man. like I said, Connor and Jeff, they've been the biggest blessing for me, man. They've helped me through a lot getting to where I'm at. They've, cause I mean, you know, we all come from different backgrounds, different schools, but we're all after the same thing. And they've brought things to the table that I didn't have. And I feel like I've brought things to the table that they didn't have. And we've helped build something beautiful.
I love that. I love that.
Man, it's just crazy because like everybody that I feel like we work with and things like that, we've all competed at something back in school. Like it's just crazy how things play out.
I love
some of my best friends, man. We competed against each other in high school in ball.
And dude, it was an amazing time. It was an amazing time. Even though I'm gonna have to throw it at you, but then I'm gonna throw it back on Connor. We won 3 of the 4 years in football, but that one year, hey, that 1 year, Connor's senior year, man, y'all put it on us like it was nobody's business.
Ask Connie about it.
Oh my God,
man, he's my boy.
Yeah,
that's my boy. I love y'all.
Oh man, hey. Dylan, thank you so much for just making time for us today, man. I think a lot of people are going to pick, a lot from this. I think future, being able to share this with other people, I think, they're going to have more questions for you. Overall, man, I am so grateful to be able to go back and listen and take the little golden nuggets that, sometimes are the most basic things in the world, but we got to keep them in our, in our cookie jar, in our back pocket to make sure we don't forget them.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, man. And honestly, like like I said earlier, we're gonna look back at this in 10 years. A lot of you all are gonna listen to this and be like, "This guy don't know what he's talking about." But you all have to understand that this is an area that I'm working on too, getting out of my comfort zone. And Isaiah, man, he's helped me a lot. Public speaking, things like that. This is gonna take me and my career to the next level. We're going to look back at this in 10 years and appreciate the hell out of it.
Hey,
we're going to laugh about it, man.
I love it. I love
the process of getting through this.
Hey, Dylan, thank you so much for your time, man. Of course, if you need anything, holler at me. Young and Growing, we are super, super excited. I'm going to keep everybody up on the loop. Hopefully we get up on Apple here soon. SoundCloud, I'm currently downloading most of our podcasts on SoundCloud, Young and Growing. So just keep working with this. This podcast is going to be all over, Facebook, YouTube, and I don't care what you guys do. I just ask that if you take something from it, share it, comment, what you did take from it, or give us some advice on, how we can make things better or how we can switch it up, whatever the case may be. Thank you guys so much for everything. Thank you for listening. Young and Growing, we are out.